Now, 2 minutes before 15, you just warn you a little bit so that you can write down.
Very good morning to everyone. My name is Anita and I'm a research student, PhD student of Shivaji University, Kolhapur, Maharashtra. And the title of my paper is History and Essential Fabric, a study of narrative design and structures of Anita Nair's lessons in forgetting as a sensitive representation of the topic. I have prepared this paper in collaboration with my PhD guide. Her name is Dr. Jyoti Reddy. Here we go. So Anita Nair is a very well-known writer, Indian English writer. She has 9 novels, 6 children books, 2 Buddhist procedural skills, crime fiction, 1 poetry collections on her account. Her novels have been translated in more than 25 languages, both regional and foreign languages. And she has been honored with Sahitya Akademi Award. This is the personal novel. Lessons in Forgetting, as is written on the back of the book, is a story of redemption, forgiveness, and second chances. There are 2 central characters. It's automatically around 2 central characters. 2 major characters in the novel. Jack, who is a cyclone expert, whose daughter is in coma due to reasons which are not known. And the whole novel is spent by Jack, the father, to find out what actually happened with Singh. Another major character is Meera, who is a corporate wife whose husband has recently left her suddenly. And Smriti, who is absent in the character, mom in the character, mom in the novel. She is the traumatized character. But as she is in coma condition, comatose condition, she is not able to speak. So that is the general overall plot line of the novel. Now this is how I have put it together. Smriti, Jack, and Meera. Space gets created among them. Jack, the focalizer, major focalizer. Meera, another major focalizer. And Smriti, the traumatized character. Like the psychoanalytical theory says, the character who is absent is most present in the book. The same happens here. She doesn't talk, but everyone is talking about her, Smriti. And her name, Smriti, which is translated in English like memory, is not a coincidence. Okay? Now, Jack, these are the narrative positions of these characters. Jack is a major focalizer, he is a narrative. It's not the narrative, he is the narrative of the novel, and a very important position. He is the father, see, intentionally, not the mother of the character, not the mother of the traumatized character. The father is finding out what happened to her, which we will come to know by the end of the novel. And Meera is an ideal corporate wife, as I told you before. She's second major focalizer of the novel. Focalizer is novel is told from their point of view, Jack and Meera. And she's writer of a non-fiction book, and her husband as well. Now the question is, if Smriti is the traumatized character, then why she's not the character, or why she's not the focalizer of the novel? It would have been a very good idea, no? The traumatized person herself is telling her story, but intentionally comes and it inspires the narrative structure and design of the novel. The answers are given, I have given the answers considering 2 models of trauma theory, the traditional one and the pluralistic one, the modern one. Now, what is the traditional model of trauma theory? It says that trauma is unspeakable because human brain is unable to encode or process the trauma event, and hence, as a defensive mechanism, it uses dissociation. So there is a big gap, a long muteness on the part of traumatized character. Now, the second claim of traditional model is the experience of trauma is stored in some untrodden part of human brain, and some people call it pre-linguistic area where language doesn't work, where you have only signifiers, not signifiers. they claim that the only remedy for such trauma conditions, such traumatic experiences are abreaction or repetitive narrations. Now there are some contradictions, aren't there? So trauma is now that the contradictions. If trauma is unspeakable and gets fixed in some unknown territory of the brain, then will a reaction be possible? And if it is stored in some pre-linguistic territory of the brain, then can it be organized at linguistic level? They seem contradictory. Other claims are they overemphasize the recalling and abreaction of the traumatic condition, traumatic experience again and again, and they overgeneralize the reactions to traumatic event. Okay. Now the present novel solved these contradictions by bringing two elements in the narrative structure of the novel. One is adverse condition of the traumatized person, and another one is good and wrong. Now, Smriti, the traumatized person, is in coma. She is not talking. She is unable to talk. The only communication she has with the world outside is her monstrous dream. Now, this comatose condition is not resulted from dissociation. It is resulted from after she is gang raped by local mafias in Chandigarh because she was trying to find out the racket of female suicide and to make her to stop her to prevent her from doing that. She was gang raped by local mafias there. Hence, she is in comatose condition. After the traumatized experience, she is hit by a large wooden block, and hence she is in comatose condition, and hence she is not able to narrate her own story or vocalize her own story. Yes, so these two elements they remove the contradictions that we find in tradition. Now, the second model of trauma, literary trauma theory is pluralistic model, which says that we should move ahead of dissociation and psychological effects of trauma. It goes ahead of dissociation as a symbol and abreaction as a only depending on traumatic event or traumatic experience. Between the transition between the traditional model and pluralistic model, we give these two terms, contagion and transhistorical or transgenerational quality of traumatic experience or any experience in that case, because of which we feel connected with such norms, because of which we feel connected with tragedies and catharsis happens because of these elements. Trauma and it admits that trauma does not have similar effects on everyone. See, it is relevant. How I react to a trauma and how she reacts to a trauma will be totally different. It is because it is affected by contextual factors, and that is very important for me because of which many students, research students who are doing research in trauma prefer this model than the earlier one, traditional one. This pluralistic model considers the contextual factors that affect the experience of trauma, the recalling of trauma, and the narration of trauma. Now, trauma's effects on different characters in this novel. It does not affect everyone differently. See, the traumatized character is marked, but because of the transgenerational and transhistorical element, contagion factor or feature of trauma, the people who are narrating the story of Smriti and the person, our own father, who is listening to the story again and again and again, is reacting differently to this traumatic event. Smriti, as we know, is in coma. She is not able to talk. And in the aftermath section of the novel, we come to know that she is likely to get back to her senses. And there is a sense of positivity in it. Now, this is not expected. We won't find it logical that she has been gang raped by three people brutally and left to die on the seashore, and still she has some positivity regarding the upcoming life. But fictional character is her person. This is how she is reacting to the traumatic event. Shivu and Matthew, who were her friends, they think that we would have been able to do something. So they feel guilty, they are shocked and they feel guilty. Another character, Rishi, Smriti was in love with, who goes away, who runs away when his own life is threatened. Instead of going back and saving Smriti, he runs away. And he, who is more responsible for what happened with Smriti, he has moved on and he has moved on. He has made peace with it and he has moved on. Jack, who's the father of this character and who's the most striking character of the novel. I have selected 8 novels of Anita Nair for my completion pieces, and this is my most favorite in terms of both content and form. What does it say and how does it say? And this Jack is a very is multi-dimensional character, and he reacts in a very charismatic way to this novel. He says that I will take the mission which Smriti left undone, or Smriti left in the middle. I'll take that mission and I'll complete what she was expected to do. And it was not easy for him to take this, to listen to his stories again and again. But he has reacted in that, and that is the kind of person Jack is. He's a cyclone expert, he's a scientist, and he knows how things work. He knows that it is not a single event. There is a history behind what happens to Smriti. And all these contextual elements, element of patriarchy, element of parent-child relationship, the cyclic nature of parent-child relationship, the society, the cross-cultural space in which it happens, these all elements are brought into play during these narrations by different characters to Jack the father about what happened to Smriti. Now, contextual factors. So Smriti is traumatized when she is young, but Jack misses. And it activates Jack as an enemy. It brings so many dimensions in the interpretation of the novel because Jack is a father, he is a man. He is listening to the stories, how Smriti was brutally raped by these 3 people, and before that, how she was looked at as an easily available girl with whom you can chill, with whom you can hang out, but with whom you cannot think about a long-term relationship. So he is listening to all these stories, and while understanding his relationship with his daughter, he is going back using flashback and reconsidering his relationship with his mother and his father. So this cyclic nature of parent-child relationship. Our parents usually say this, until you have children, you will not understand what I'm going to do. Yeah. Fine. So these contextual factors are brought into the discussion. Now, contagion or trans-historical aspect is also considered, is also reflected in this novel. So this theme is a non-verbal communication, but Jack understands the gravity of the terror. He wants to know the genesis of that scream, the source of that terror, and on that ground, Jack gets connected with Smriti because his father. And Meera was not her biological mother, but she also gets connected with Smriti being a woman, being mother of a daughter of the same age. I'm quoting it from the novel, these are Meera's words. This could have been my Anita, Anita is the name of the daughter. If it had been my child, how would I have endured all this and the knowledge that she is trapped in a frozen world of odious beasts and wicked demons, that the last conscious thought must have been complete. So we can see how she has got connected with these figures. Chinnathai is the only witness of what happened to Smriti. She was looking at these things, what is happening to her from a distance. and she's connected. She belongs to the lowest class in ninja class. So she's afraid of reacting at the same on the spot. So she's just watching it. And these are her words. I'm quoting it from the novel. It narrates what happened.
If you have less time, you can just give them a minute to read and you will go. Maybe I think I have read it.
Yeah, okay. And she experiences a trauma. She is a guy who doesn't belong to the same class, but she is a woman and she appreciates the cause for which Smriti is fighting. And on these two grounds, Chindakai gets connected with Smriti. Can you go? And so this is the conclusion of my paper that lessons in forgetting is a trauma novel. It deals with trauma. It shows good trauma literacy, the sensitivity and maturity with which writer has handled trauma. It shows good trauma literacy on her part. It deals with the contradictions or discrepancies of traditional model by bringing in elements from Meadow's condition and the Govind law. It's in alignment with the pluralistic model as well because so many contextual factors are come into play. And the contextual factors are experiences which have affected the experience and recalling and remembering of the traumatic event. So, and trauma, as I have explained, trauma directs and inspires the narrative structure and design of the novel. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me time. So, no comments right now. We keep that for the last and we move on to the next speaker.